Hi guys, my name's Anna, you're watching simcue, and without further ado, let's get into this video. So when this video is released, I will be in Italy, relaxing, spending time with family, and hopefully enjoying some incredible food. And I thought, what better way to prepare for my holiday and also get a video ready for you guys than to build an Italian home. So we are in Chestnut Ridge because there is this incredible lot with all of these grapevines out front. And the lot itself is actually quite small, but if we kind of imagine that all of this belongs to this house we're going to build, I do think that that's going to make a lot of sense. And that's also why we will be building here at the front, so we do have some space to do a bit of a garden. So a small home, but hopefully a gorgeous home. I looked through multiple references and I think we just want to get started. The one I have is very narrow, but I think we're just going to see how it looks. We definitely want some taller walls, and then let's just figure out how much space we actually need. So if we start here at the front, I know for sure that I want these archways, and I think the best ones are actually going to be the ones from base game. So the bigger ones, these ones. Yes, so if we put that in the middle, and then we have to figure out how wide this actually needs to be. Now for the windows, what I'm thinking is doing this double wall. Can we have, oh yes, there are the big arches, lovely. So if we do like that, and then actually on the inside create yet another layer so that this wall is where we're going to have the actual door and windows, I think that could make a lot of sense. I mean, right now the spacing is actually quite nice, so this might work. Very much depends on how much space we're going to have on the inside. If we just start with some base game that also matches quite nicely, we could go like that. And then I want to have a look in here, because what I'm imagining is that we're going to have kitchen, living room, and then upstairs we're going to have 2 bedrooms. That could definitely work for this space. Thinking if we flip it this way, like that probably. But is that enough space? What if we actually turn it one more and then move it like that and then make this just the entranceway? That could definitely also work. So then upstairs we have, oh right, we have a much bigger space upstairs because that goes all the way. I mean, I do quite like that, but that also gives us some very big bedrooms, especially in comparison to the downstairs. I very much want to get the front right, and I think for that we want some more of these windows, maybe actually a smaller version. Yeah, this one is a tiny bit smaller, but my question is, because I really want to have shutters, and I think the only shutters we have come with horse ranch, and they are very small. What if we size them up? They are very big if we size them up. I just really, because we have these ones, but I really like the arch. So then there are these ones, but they also feel very small, these ones, but I want the shutters. That's my issue. I mean, it's an option. Oh, there is this one. This one has the rounded shutters. Ooh, I definitely like that better. Also a little bit bigger, which might be nice. And then in the middle, maybe a little door, and then we can have cute little balconies. So I probably want to go for the larger one. Do you think that's just going to look better? Do we generally want the slightly lighter color? I think we do. I think that's going to look better. Ooh, I need to, oh, okay. No, that's good. And then it's also a little bit more orange. I don't mind that. Wait, I need to double check that these are the right colors. This is like one of the worst things. Let's actually get it on the light side and see if these two things match, because it seems like they don't. So it's this one. Okay, love that. It does feel a little wide. I think I'll just try and quickly place a kitchen and see, because technically that would just be there, right? I mean, that does feel like plenty of space now that I think about it, and you could still have a table. I say let's give it a go. Do we honestly just do it like so? It's like that, and upstairs as well. That also means that these rooms don't feel quite as large anymore. Oh, and I love that for the front. That looks so cute. Let's run with that. Oh, we need to change the color of this one. It needs to be more orange. Nice. Let's get something like this up here. Probably this width, right? For it to not look too silly. And then a little fence. But what kind of fence? You know, I gotta say, I do prefer the one from vampires. And maybe we shouldn't care about what packs we're using today. I kind of wish that it could be 3 wide. I mean, it definitely looks better for the front, and I don't think it's too wide. I think I just want to look at how it looks from the outside. So we want the roof facing this way. See, now I'm thinking that maybe it is too wide. But I just feel like if we do the balcony only like too wide, that's simply too silly. Like, what's that? Because I feel like the roof is going to look so much better if it's only at this width. Yeah, it does. I do think, however, that these items are more so the orangey color. They're actually a weird in between. They are none of these colors. Great. Life and death, you know, maybe. Ooh, actually not bad. I do feel like that matches better. I mean, it looks pretty good. And then for the roofing, it has these kind of tiles. Or do we maybe want these kind of tiles? I do like the added texture. So if we go with that, and then we also get a roof trim, probably just something like that. It looks pretty good to me. I kind of want to go back with the balcony idea though. How are there like no 3 wide balconies? Because this looks good with the build 1.3 maybe. I don't hate it. I just don't love it. I think we need to add a few more details to really get a sense of this place, and then we can start actually working on the rest, because I definitely want a little staircase out front. But I probably want to make it into an actual platform so that we can have the same tiles all the way around, making everything matchy. And then we want to do the trick where we flare them out, probably like that, and then put them down here. Ooh, that does not look the way that I anticipated. It doesn't look good, let's be honest. I mean, if we add some very strategically placed plants, we might be able to hide it a little bit, but get a similar effect. These are actually gorgeous. Wow. Maybe, yeah, a little bit more yellowish. What is the difference between these two? Okay. Screw it. Let's go with that. Are there matching stones? It's a very, very important question. Why? It's such a simple thing. Why do you make beautiful stairs and then don't give us this swatch for stones? I just don't get it. Are there only like wooden floorboards with the pack? But then what do I need the stairs for? Okay, do we have other stone stairs that come with a matching floor? And then the answer is no. No, we don't. I don't know what I expected. Like, again and again, I'm just disappointed. Away! Okay, let's ditch the whole stone thing. What flooring would look good? I just flip the lot while we're working on the colors because it drives me insane that I can't see if anything is matching. So we get the colors down and then we flip the lot again. These are beautiful. Oh my god. These are actually gorgeous. Also love these. Jungle Adventure has some really solid items, I gotta say. I just kind of want it to be stone. All right, this base game stair actually match and it is stone, so that could be good. I think we're going to have less trouble finding flooring that match the lighter one, so let us cross our fingers, maybe even pray a little bit. And I need that yellowish tone. I'd really like to have that, but that might be impossible. Oh wait, honestly, if this matched, I was ready for it. Okay, I think I finally made a decision that we'll at least go for now. So right now there is the glitch. It's not going to look like this, but I just wanted to show you that if we sort of fight this glitch, I think this will be all right. These stairs are the ones that match the house the best, and this foundation color is also what matches the house the best, but I do like to have that extra support. So I think for the rest of the house we are going to have this stone foundation. I think this somewhat works. If we add enough other things to like take the attention away from the fact that there's a little bit mix match, I think this could work. Right now the flooring is the one from Cottage, Country Kitchen Kit. So I just added a few lights from Jungle Adventure and then window boxes just from the base game because I really think we need to bring more detail to this house. And another thing I thought was that we could add some corbels to support the roof. And I kind of looked through and I want something that's very like close to the wall. And I think I want to try to see if we can avoid using cottage living just for fun. And instead, I thought we might actually use Enchanted by Nature. I don't think I've used it for any of my builds so far. And I do know has some really nice plants that I think might be nice for this house. So let's see if we can get this to match. I'm thinking that is nice. And maybe this is not the most Italian look, but it's gonna look cool, I think. So it should be at this height. It also works quite well with the windows, I think. So maybe we can do it like so. How does that look? Oh gosh, spun it too much. I think that looks kind of nice. I actually think that's our front done. Of course, at least aside from like an entire front area, but the facade of the house, I do quite like that. So I'm thinking I want to close off the kitchen. I think that's pretty common. And then you can just have the stair this way around. I mean, it is a little bit annoying for a living room. And then we have upstairs, which is currently very big because we get those extra 2 tiles. So do I want to create a balcony? Because we could do that, right? Oh, can we now not? Does it do the thing? Oh, I hate that so much. What if we did spandrels? Then the column could surely continue. No, the column could not. So we need that wall if we want that column. So what else can we do in here? Because right now that's a balcony, but we also do need bathrooms. At least one. But then it's like that. And then you probably want bathrooms at the front so that you can have bigger windows at the back. It's also just a very narrow hallway. Maybe it isn't too bad once we get started. Maybe we should rethink this space. Because technically you could have a room like here. And that's not weird. And that still matches with windows. Then you could also have a room here. We can actually just have a lot of rooms like that. And everything is still going to match with windows, and one of them could potentially be a very large bathroom. I don't hate that. Kind of makes more sense. What if we maybe gave ourselves a little bit more hallway so that this room just has a slightly weird shape? Oh yeah, we would kind of need that. We need an entrance here. But then I guess down here we actually want doors, and there are also these ones that do match the rest of the style. They are very Kyoto, but they do look very short. They look very short. I mean, maybe we'll get lucky and there's actually something that matches. That would be a miracle, but maybe luck is on our side. Maybe luck is not on our side. These ones might not be a bad idea. And then what if we also lowered these windows? Because then it doesn't seem... Ooh, yikes. So that's really the maximum height right there. Might need some work. I think this is the best option, and maybe our way of saving it is to add probably the one from Enchanted by Nature, but like if we add plants here, can you kind of see the vision? Ooh, no. I know what my idea was. Gosh, I completely forgot. That's definitely going to take some of the attention away. Because obviously we need this to be like covered. So we want like a big terrace. So I think what we're going to do is grab this piece right here and then get a grid like so. And then we want like plants for our cover. And then we get rid of all of this. I mean, look at that. I guess I would have wanted it to be shorter. Like I'd rather have it around here. But there's really no way I can do that. There's one way I can do that. At least create the illusion. Oh my gosh, it stole my column. Okay, I was just about to throw a fit. So what I'm thinking is that instead of doing a foundation, we could do platforms. So that would mean that this bit in here is just raised a little bit, and it would make this wall situation look a bit shorter. Oh, we can't do that. So the only other way to really lower it is if we go and we make a custom one, either with debug items, or we do potentially a glass roof. That just looks like a glass roof. It's not going to look like trellis. It's just gonna look like a glass roof, even if we add plants. And then the last thing would be to simply place an item instead. This one. Oh, it's actually just base game. See, we do have this, which is a little bit shorter. Does look nice. I mean, it's just maybe like an awkward size. So remember not too long ago when I said I wasn't going to use cottage living? I looked through some different options, and I think we probably have to use cottage living because we have these amazing columns from Horse Ranch that I absolutely love. I think they should be placed somewhere along probably like that. And if we lower them, we could potentially have a trellis part that has a slope, which I really want. I tried it with a roof and that looked absolutely horrendous. And then I remembered that one thing that I absolutely love from cottage living is this little support beam. It just works so well in so many instances. And if we size this up, it does become a little bigger than I would like it, but I think this is where I'm going to go easy on myself and just stick with it, because it also means that it's really easy to tile. So if we do like that, get a little bit of an overhang and then manipulate these with the tool mod, I think we can actually create a trellis part out here that has a slope, that has nice wooden beams, that looks pretty darn good if I do say so myself. And then technically we also want here at the columns, so like that, right? I so hope this works. So essentially we want to pick all of these. So I hold down Alt and I'm selecting all of these, and I hope I don't misclick, because then I need to start over. There we go. So we now want these pieces rotated. I did already test this, so I think just 10 degrees should be enough. So obviously they're now at a lot of different heights, which we don't really want. I think this looks good, like this is right at the top, and I do think it looks like it will continue very nicely and work with the column. So next we probably just want to select these ones, and I think I also tested this, and if we lower them by exactly 0.25, I am wrong. That should work. Perfect. So these are lowered by 0.35, and then we want these ones, which I honestly don't really know. Probably also an uneven number. I think we lower these first and then we fix the glitching, because these are also going to glitch. We get all of these. That should now be lowered by maybe 0.6. Needs to look like these are laying on top of this beam. We want these lower. We did 0.6. If we do 4, then we know it's technically just lowered by 1, but that is also too much. So fair enough. Let's get that back. Maybe 0.2. That looks pretty good. That actually looks really nice. So next is the glitching that usually happens zooming in and out. Yes. So we have a few culprits. So technically all of these ones. Hopefully this works. It works with most pieces. So if you scale it to just do 0.999, there's just that teeny tiny bit smaller. Let's try that one more time, shall we? Because this one would be 1.999, right? Because it's double size. Yes, that works. Because then it's just a teeny tiny bit smaller than the other one. So I'm hoping that this also worked with the beams. And now if we zoom in and out, yeah, we've gotten rid of the glitch. But I do think we want a beam along this seam as well. That would just make a lot of sense. Alrighty. And then we get the tool mod out once again, select all of these ones, and then we sort of figure out how much these should be lowered. I think I actually need to look at a picture to just ensure the what would you say, constructual integrity of this trellis part. I think columns here make sense. I kind of love that. It's definitely better than anything else I have tried out. I actually don't have a reference specifically of a trellis part. I think this makes sense. I mean, it looks pretty good to me. Maybe plants is just the next step. Do we want... No, we want proper plants, because hopefully we just test this really quickly, but I think we'll be able to rotate these so that they're also rotated by 10. Most, or not most, I shouldn't say that, but a lot of debug items don't rotate, which can be a little bit problematic in cases like this. So we definitely want to go in with proper plants, because then that won't be an issue. That does, however, mean that they apparently all need to be either turned this way or they need to be turned this way. Those are kind of our only options, I think, because then we can operate with angle them at 10 or -10. Well, I guess we could do this as well. Then we just have to change the axis, right? Yeah, but we can only add them straight on. I don't think we want to get started with like adding them at an angle. So probably want to work within that. I do think we want to enlarge them a little bit just so that we don't have quite as many. And then it's probably also going to be easier to place them up here and then lower them. I think that is enough talking with myself for this to make sense. So let's go with that. Oh, it's going to be a little bit annoying, but it's going to be so worth it though. I really think this is going to look nice. So far, so good. Of course, it looks a little bit dumb right here. This is probably actually the easiest to do individually. Gonna have to go by 0.5. Actually looks quite nice. We do want to see some of the beam. We're kind of imagining that the plant's like growing around it. So it does make sense that this is like glitching in between. I am very pleased with that. Probably going to be a little bit annoying for gameplay. Actually, it probably isn't. Ah, yes. I was going to say, because everything, since we placed it along the grid, is placed accordingly to the second floor. So as soon as you're down on the first floor, you don't see it. So it's actually not a problem for gameplay, which is really nice. That was definitely going to be an issue with this one because you see it all the time and it can just be really bothersome. So I think we're good. That worked so much better than I was hoping. Okay. No. I can't believe you've done this to me. Oh, I should have seen that coming. Should have seen that coming. Can I save it in any way? Ugh, I probably can't. Well, we know how to do it, so I'm just gonna do that at the end. So take one last good look. That kind of rocks, except for the fact that I need to redo that. It wasn't too bad. And I guess this time, or well, the next time around, I know how to do it. So I should have just get it over with. It hurts my soul. We need a door here. Technically, we'd want it to open this way, even though it's kind of crazy. But I mean, in real life, you would have those like teeny tiny small gaps, but we can't really do that here. So railing. I think this could be good. And then if we do it like that, we get to delete that teeny tiny part. I kind of hate that. I actually kind of hate the railing. Yikes. You would need this railing and you would need this railing, which is in different sides. It is so annoying. I kind of need a double option. I guess one way we can work around it is if we do platforms, which might be worth it. I'm dreading it. I don't know if you can tell by my face. I'm really dreading platforms. They just, I mean, they work so well for so many things, but they also just kind of suck. See, like that. It's like, why? Why? Can I... Ugh, and it even removed the floor. Are you kidding me? Full wall. Ugh, I was hoping I didn't have to paint. Whatever. I still have my trellis. That's the most important part. I do not want to redo that. So if we do that, and then we do that. See, that actually does work. A little bit awkward here, which I hadn't really... so we need the platform underneath this area as well. We should be able to get something that matches, right? Might be a lot to ask for. So now if we do it like that, now we can actually get the railing in different sizes. So here we want the right railing and here we only want the left railing. Oh, yes, I do love that. That's so much better. I barely even know where to go from here. Like that was just a rush. And now maybe let's go with some flooring. Terracotta floors would be pretty common. Right? Look at how pretty. That's so gorgeous. And it even looks good outside. Oh, I love that. Is this going to be one of those few times where I just immediately make a decision and it's like good? And then please, please have tiles that match. These match, right? Oh, thank you. That was all I needed. It's been a couple of days. I'm a little bit unsure where we left off, but I think we will continue with the indoors. So we have the kitchen first. And I think for an Italian kitchen, I want something a bit rustic, but also something with some color. And since we're already using the pack for the floor tiling out here, I think we could go in with these from Country Kitchen because it does come in some really nice swatches. Yes, I like the green. So let's do that. I probably just want to do kitchen all along this wall because we have a big window and a door. So we continue here. If we have fridge there, then we'll do a stove there and then we'll get, I probably actually want the sink here and then stove further down. Do we want to also use the kitchenware that comes with it? We probably do, don't we? I mean, this is cute. Do we want it in a different color? I think if the yellow was a bit more pastel, I'd be happy to go with that. But I think it's a little too strong in color. There is the light blue, but I also really just like this like cream tone. I do want to move. I always want to do this with kitchens. I'm like, why is the fridge not right next to the counter? That really bothers me. I guess we do have the counter a little bit in the wall here. So what I might actually do, even though it is kind of annoying, is what if we scooch the fridge over here and then we also scooch our counter, so that would go there, and then hopefully these, yeah, they actually snap to the other counters. See, that makes so much more sense. It does kind of bother me though that it's now a little bit off with the flooring. Can I ignore that? Maybe? Oh, this unfortunately probably does not snap. I'll have to alt place this one. Okay, there we go. So that's just absolutely adorable, that color, right? I do actually like that little piece of fabric a little bit better in the yellow. Is it too much of a difference? I actually don't think so. I might go with that and cheat. Probably want some cabinets as well. These ones, yes. So this is the regular one. What really bothers me, even though it's cool to have the open shelving, it's like if you do two, then it's the exact same thing, which I'm not a fan of. So what do we want to do? And we do have the end pieces. This could probably look pretty good around the stove. And then we have a piece like that. That's cute as well. So then I guess we could just have the plates on top, even though that's a little bit weird. And we would have to scooch everything because we've scooched all of these cabinets. I've definitely made it slightly difficult for myself, I will admit. What if these are the ones we switch? Because, oh, but I want it scooched that way. So the issue is technically that none of this is like wide enough. Well, I guess we could just scooch everything a little bit, right? Oh my gosh, the angles. These angles, are you kidding me? I just want to align the cabinet, please. Okay, it's fine. I'll just, okay, so that comes out the wall. Do we have anything that would align there? No, great. We'll alt place it all, not a problem. I will get to it. Okay, I think this worked. Never have I ever spent that long trying to alt place these cabinets. They just did not want to align, and it was really important for me that at least at first glance, this cabinet is kind of above this sink, and I am not going back to changing anything. It is like this now. Done. Let us get a little dining table. I think technically this will be a house for like 6 people, but we'll probably only do a dining table for 4. It's The Sims 4, no one cares, and we will also do a very big dining table outside. I'm kind of running into an issue where technically all of the tables feel a bit too light for the countertops, and it's not that it has to match, but sometimes it's nice that certain things match. It's like we don't really have this shade with any other pack. Maybe this one. We could of course also go in with darker so that it matches like doors and railings, but I just feel like that becomes very dark very quickly. So that would be that. That just feels very dark. So I kind of narrowed it down to 2 options, and while I do think that it's nice that this one matches with the doors, I just think it's a little too dark. I know that technically these 2 wooden colors are a little bit off, but I still think this is the better option, and I think it would just be right around there. Maybe we should scooch it down a little bit to have a little bit more space for the door there. Let's have our attention at the living room. A lot of these homes come with a fireplace because you actually don't need heating throughout most of the year. So the few months where you might need it, it could be nice to just have a fireplace. And there's this one that's really nice. That does look really good, and it actually matches the foundation we got going out here, so that could definitely work. Now we do have 2 options. We could place it here and it's in the center, and we could do like a chimney out here on the house, or we could place it up here and then have it centered around like the couches, because this is kind of an annoying space since we have door, we have window, we also have an archway, and now we also have a fireplace. Maybe this is for the best. Guess we'll see. I feel like for a living room, what I mostly see is just light couches, and I honestly think this one from the base game in this like slightly off-white might be the best choice. How do I feel about that? I definitely don't love it. Do I care about them actually being able to access the door all that much? I don't really think I do. But at the same time, placing this completely in front might feel a little bit weird. Do we have chairs that could work well with the space? I actually only thought this one from Horse Rank came in like leather swatches, but if it also comes in fabric swatches, maybe that could work. Okay, so it comes in this one swatch that we could potentially use, but I do kind of like that. But there is also one from Horse Ranch, so this would match. I mean, it definitely adds some more color and also some more details just because there's already pillows. Because I'm thinking instead of having a separate couch, if we have chairs, we can sort of place them around the room, and you can also more easily just move a chair if you want access to the door. So that might seem a little bit more realistic, and I think we are making this as like a residential rental. That is completely the wrong word. We're making it a vacation home, and I feel like I've definitely seen furniture similar to this. Do we actually just want the one that kind of matches? I do kind of like that. What I was also thinking is, what if we did a little trick and we actually did end up hanging a TV above this fireplace? It's kind of crazy, but I mean, call me crazy. Like that, right? Yeah. I just think, you know, then at least they have the entertainment, which I kind of like. Maybe I placed it a little, it's built in, you know. It's really well built into this stone, right? I feel like you wouldn't really have a rug, but maybe for The Sims 4, we'd want a rug. It's also just kind of crazy to have a rug right in front of a fireplace, maybe. Now that I think about that, that's kind of a perfect match. I actually do like that. I think we'll go with that. It's a nice space with some decorations. I think that could potentially work. Do we then want to continue outside? Yes. I am thinking that outside we also want lounge furniture, and here I actually think these from Jungle Adventure could look really nice. I do like these ones the best. Do we have a cool little table? There's only the big one. It just feels very big. Mini, 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 mini. Maybe a glass table out here? Nah, this is probably what works the best. Do I kind of just want it in the middle? There we go. Oh, there's also this one that comes with a nice little cloth on top. Kind of cute. I actually kind of love that. It's so bright. Maybe I should do this in the shadows. I normally always want to do these things in the light, but the light is like way too bright. So I think we will be placing it in the shade and then figure out what would work the best. That kind of works as well. Maybe looks a bit more outdoorsy. I think these ones are the ones that probably work the best for outside. And I know that it's technically a lighter wood. I feel like it's just kind of matching the cloth. If I again just show you in the shade, right? Like the brown matches that brown. The very light color right there kind of matches the wood. I think this kind of works. So I want that around there. Do I want a full on like outdoor kitchen here? It's actually a really good question. Oh, what we could also do, since the natural shadow falls here, and this is technically where we have the kitchen on the inside, so we already have plumbing for water, we could maybe, do I want it on foundation? Because what if we just pull that along there? Because we wouldn't really need anything to like cover it. How does it look from the front? I mean, if we just put up some plants, you wouldn't even see that. That kind of works, doesn't it? Am I just telling myself that? Kind of like it. And then we can have like an outdoor kitchen here. Not a bad idea, Anna. Not a bad idea at all. Which one looks more outdoorsy? That is a very good question. Ooh, this one. Yeah. And we're already using this pack, so that is just perfect. I kind of love the yellow. So these ones, how do they look? It looks good, doesn't it? I feel like that looks pretty good. But will we then want to have the grill over here? Can we do like a built-in grill potentially? Oh, you would want the light one. I guess the grill would look better with this kitchen, right? That just matches a little bit better. But the yellow though looks so good. I kind of hate that that works better. Maybe that. I do like the yellow, but I do kind of think that that works better. Okay, so then what do I have here? I don't know. Guess we can just have some like planters. Let's get some stairs. Now, normally I would want stone stairs that match this, but since I can't have that, I might just go in with wooden stairs that at least matches this. So that would be... Are you telling me that Horse Ranch comes with everything, but not a wooden staircase that perfectly matches everything else? That really bothers me. Why? There is a wooden staircase. How did it take me that long to notice? Ugh. So that matches, right? Yeah. It has to be this one. Okay. Whew. Do we have plants that are like hanging? I mean, we have these, but that's a little much. And we don't really have anything else. So this is also cute. Oh, this is also cute. I like the plants. Maybe we can have a plant right here. I think the next thing we want to figure out is, what do we do about the garden? Because I don't want it to be too closed off, because I want all of this to seem like it belongs to this lot. But we of course do want something more. I think Italian gardens are just beautiful. Maybe something as simple as that word will do. So I think I'm going to make a plan and then we'll come back to it. I think I might have some explaining to do, because while I was looking through some reference photos, the thing was just that so many of them actually incorporated a lot of stones, a lot of steps, and I really wanted to play around with that, even though we don't have that much space. So what I actually did was I got rid of the foundation, and instead everything is now raised on platforms at slightly different heights. That also means that the entire house, this first floor, is now the very tall walls, and then the platform is just raised accordingly. So it technically still looks the same, though I do have to change that. I think I otherwise went through everything and made sure that everything was at the proper height. I just really like this. I like the extra steps. We're going to have so many plants out here in the front and also here in the back. I just think hopefully at the end it's a little bit more interesting. Now, another thing that I looked at was because I really wanted a pool, and I'm not the strongest at doing pools. I know so many people that are just so much better. And I wanted to test it out, and you can't do a pool on a platform. But what I also wanted was to have these very natural built-in like stone pools. That's what I've seen quite a lot. I will have to admit, maybe more so in Spain, but I imagine it's very similar in Italy. I think I've definitely seen it in a few photos. So I did look that up, how we solve that problem. And the way to solve it is that we're basically just going to get rid of part of the platform where we want the pool. Now, because our platform here is like 2 steps tall, we do want to add in just one more step, and then this should technically work just like with any other thing. Like the Sims can take one step and they should be able to go directly into the pool. That's what the woman in the video showed me. Thank you very much. And then if we make the pool here in the middle, we should be able to drag it to the side. And I do think that that could actually come to look pretty cool, and also means we just have that like extra step, which I do kind of like. And then what stone trims do we have? Because do we technically want something like this on the inside? Couldn't that be kind of interesting as well? There's also this, and then we could do this. That seems pretty cool, right? I think maybe just for this part, I want it like that. A minor detail, but sometimes it is the small details that count. And we'll get a little floaty. I think the pink one is kind of cute right there. Which one of these would look the best for our little Italian home? Because I like the shape of this one. Oh, it does come in a very neutral color. Well, that's nice. I think this could work. Yep. And then this one comes in like similar, also very natural. I guess that does look nice as well. Ooh, I like that color as well. I think we'll go with that. So we'll just have a few lounge chairs out here. I kind of want to use this. I kind of love it, you know? I just what to do? Because what if we then had this down here? We could do an extra little shaded area down here. I wouldn't be mad about that, but I do think I want to introduce some terrain paint, because I've seen quite a lot that have like pebbles. Is this good? It's actually pretty brilliant. Now I do kind of wish that this would disappear while I'm like working around it, but it will not. So let's just do it like that. Continuing here and getting some more pebble. I like my pebbles. I think this one is just so cute. I actually really like this. Do we maybe for once want it in a different color? Because look at that. Isn't that just adorable? I love that. And then here I think we'll do plants, and then we'll probably actually do like a hedge kind of thing here. We'll do potted plants all the way around here, over here as well. I mean, this tree is just like very big, but it does actually cast some shadow. Is there like a middle ground? Oh, this is nice. This is what we have in the surroundings. And if we perhaps turn it correctly, so maybe if we flip it this way and it's sort of growing in front of the pool, I think that could work. Then here around the tree, we definitely want some of these. Do we have, I know we have that in debug, but do we have like an arch? Basically, I want, where are they? I want this arch. We definitely have it. Question is where? This one. Yes. I kind of want to see if we can add that here. I think if we angle it just right, it will work with the tree. We just don't want to really be in the branch, I guess. That would be here, right? I do like that. I think that's cute. I love this lower laying one. It is always just so gorgeous. Let's add just a few of those, maybe some more of these ones. Oh, that is very nice as well. Even though this also means that there will be a lot of mosquitoes, which I'm not a fan of, but I'm pretty sure that that barely exists in The Sims 4, so maybe that's okay. And then over here, we want a bit more actual garden, but I also want to be able to walk around. But I also said that I didn't want it too closed off. What to do? Because I do want everything to technically seem like the garden, and at the same time, I also want it to be like cozy and tucked in. What about that very expensive hedge? What if we actually placed that in a fashionable manner? Not even possible, really. Oh, this is going to take forever, isn't it? I still just don't really know if it really becomes all that organic. I guess, I mean, slowly it would curve, right? But is that worth it? I don't know. Maybe this is our best option. Because then we can also curve it inwards again and just slowly move in like that direction. And then we can curve it the other way again. And then we can just alt place everything, which is like my favorite thing. But now I just need to move all of the small hedges so that it becomes a bit more seamless. As I'm recording this, I'm not in Italy. When you are watching this, I will probably be in Italy. And right now, I'm just so looking forward to it. And I know that I am just a spoiled brat. I know that a lot of people right now are not able to afford going on holiday. They're barely able to afford their groceries, which is kind of crazy. I don't know what's going on in the world. It's like so scary. We could add this as well. It wouldn't even require all that much. Like bada beam, bada boom. And then we have another arch. It looks pretty good, right? Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. I think I've sort of lost any idea of what an Italian garden might look like. These are nice. I do like these. Maybe we just find some plants and then we try to make the best of it. I don't know if this was necessarily what I imagined to begin with, but this is what we have. I'm like very happy when I just look at this, but when I zoom out, I'm like, it's just missing something. Or maybe it's just not that good. I can't really tell. And then down here where I can barely see anything, just get some dirt. Good dirt, very nice dirt, dirty lurty. So I think the build is finally done. I'm so sorry if you wanted to see me place more of these items. I don't know what to talk about while I'm placing plants, but maybe I went a little bit overboard, but I feel like it's the kind of thing with The Sims 4 where it's almost like the more detailed the better. So we have a lot of this, I would say, bougainvillaea, but I don't know the exact English pronunciation, but we have a lot of that. And then we have our little kitchen here on the side. We got all of the hedges, our little tree, and then here in the back garden. Oh, I love this little area, even though your sim probably won't actually walk down here and use it. I think it's really nice. And then I finished the terrace, and these are from Enchanted by Nature, and I do think from a distance they do kind of look like grapes, so that's kind of what we're going for. This is just base game. It's just a low-laying bush. I tend to go for it just because it works kind of seamlessly, and I rotated. I think there is a clip of me in the beginning of this video doing that, but it has now been added back in. So unfortunately, this terrace might be a little bit annoying for gameplay, but it looks pretty amazing. Imagine sitting in here, drinking a cold glass of lemonade, enjoying your dinner. Oh, so lovely. And then of course the pool area with a little bit of shading from a tree over here and all our flowers along here. I think it looks really nice. We also on the other side have some more bougainvillaea, and then we have all of our pots and plants here in the front. I'm a little bit unsure. I don't remember if the ones from Enchanted by Nature are ones that you need to take care of. If that is the case, you might want to change these, but that's not really my problem. So going in, we have just a few items out here for some more detail. We have the kitchen, which we finished together. We have the dining area that you also saw. We have the living room, which is also really cozy and just, I don't know, fits the space, I think. And then we have upstairs, which you actually haven't seen whatsoever. So we ended up with 3 rooms, and I'm going to upload it as a residential, but with the intention that you could use it as a vacation home, because I really think that's what it's best for. So that's also why we have so many beds, but of course you can just make any changes you want. So we have the larger master bedroom here. We have a smaller room with 2 single beds, and then we have more of like a children's room that includes 2 bunk beds, and then also a toddler bed in case you have a child that is a little bit younger that you want to bring along. Everything is, I would say, kind of simple. The items from Horse Ranch really worked out nicely for all of these rooms. I did go in and add this one from Enchanted by Nature because I wanted to use some more items, but they don't really fit all that well, but really simple, and also added a few items that could kind of signal that it is a vacation home. So in here we have towels, for example. I really love the color of this bed sheet, I have to say. Maybe not for myself personally, but at least for like this room, I think it works really well. And in here for the children, we're also added a little teddy bear and also a creative table. What do they call these? Activity table? Sure. Some more towels, and then a bathroom using primarily items from Jungle Adventure. I will have to test. I just feel like I've seen a few videos of people doing this where you have a like half wall, well, a very short half wall, and then adding the tub inside. I hope that this works because that means we can have the tiling here at the bottom, which I do think is really cool. So there's only one bathroom, but it is a larger one, and I do think it turned out quite well. And I'm happily surprised with how it worked with like all of the windows and all of the doors, because I placed those in the beginning. So luckily that worked out, even though the hallway is like a very tight squeeze with all of the doors, but that's okay as well. And then I honestly think that that's that. I don't think there's anything else that you haven't already seen. I just love this back garden. I mean, this is really the selling point, but I also absolutely love this lot for the area. We have the vineyard down here and it's just so gorgeous. So with that, I wish you a lovely day. I hope to see you next time and bye!